It's time to plant some things that require a bit more care in the preparation of their growing home in the garden. At Nights and Weekends Homestead, carrots, radishes, turnips, beets, and parsnips are all planted using the 6-row precision seeder. I purchased this seeder as a commercial farmer after years of planting by hand, then moving to the Earthway single-row seeder, which I've showed in other videos. Then progressing to this, the 6-row seeder. It revolutionized my operation, and even though I'm no longer a commercial farmer, there is no way I'm ever getting rid of this thing. But before I show you how it works and what it looks like, I need to get the beds prepped. Unlike with other crops, particularly those that are transplanted, I cannot compost the rows after these delicate seeds are planted, especially at the spacing I use. So, it's important to add compost, get rid of all the rocks, make sure the bed is level and at least 30 inches across on the top plane of the raised beds before I pull out the 6-row seeder. This is the 6-row seeder. This is a tool that I've mentioned several times in previous videos. This is an absolutely amazing tool. It was designed and built by a guy in Maine. So that's pretty cool. I got this from Johnny's several years ago. And I need to adjust it a little bit, but it's a precision seeder. Each one of these hoppers, there's 6 hoppers, and there's also this bar here, this machined bar, or machined rod, actually has several different settings on it. So I'm not sure if you can see that. There we go with the sun in it. But this is, I think, setting C. They're labeled by letter. Or they're not labeled, but that's how I refer to them anyway. So there's A through D, A being the smallest. There's also an extension you can get for this to have even more versatility. But underneath here, that's the D size, that's the biggest. It's on C right now, and there's 2 smaller sizes. So I'm planting parsnips first. Parsnip seeds are flat. They look like, if you've ever grown silver dollar plants, they look like mini silver dollars, but these are round, so there must be quite a bit of whatever this pelleting material is on them. I'll show you these seeds. I've never planted pelleted before. These are NOP certified. Don't necessarily care about that. I choose it over non-certified, but I would have chosen non-pelleted seeds, but there were none left by the time I ordered my seeds this year, so I need to get on that a little earlier. We'll see how these do. Pelleted seeds are supposed to germinate better. Oh, I'm getting wet here. I don't want my seeder to get wet. But at any rate, I'm going to plant these. We'll give it a shot. These are Javelin that I got from Johnny's. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fill every other hopper, and that'll give me hopefully enough room to get some cultivation tools down in between the rows of parsnips throughout the season. These are a long growing crop. I'm going to plant 2 varieties. I'm going to dig one in the fall and one in the spring. The spring parsnips are super sweet. They're really good. It's a nice first crop out of the garden in the spring when the ground's still frozen. So I'm going to plant a couple varieties and see how they go. I can already tell that's not going to work. The hopper's not big enough, so I'm going to switch it to the other size hopper. One of the many great features of this tool is what I call the seed catcher, the raised lip at the bottom of the handle. I've long since lost the instructions for this tool, so I don't know if this feature is mentioned. However, even if it is, I never noticed it. Not until a farmer friend of mine showed me did I know that the purpose is to make it super easy to unload the hoppers and save your seed. Tilting the tool back allows the seeds to exit the top of the hoppers, where they're caught by this raised lip. Then, you tilt to one side, and they all roll into your hand, or into the seed packet. It's a very smart design. Let's try again.
That's better.
These knobs adjust the height of little brushes, which determine how many seeds are allowed to exit the hopper at a set distance from the last seed that was planted. One of the problems that plagues all seeders, at least any that I've heard of or seen, is bridging. Bridging occurs when seeds get jammed together and form a bridge, under which the seed dispenser flows like water without catching any more seeds. This is why, with certain seeds, it's important not to fill the hopper very full. I find this is especially true with seeds like beets and chard, which have not been decorticated. This bridging is a problem, particularly if you overfill a hopper, because it can be hard to see that the bridged seeds are not letting any seeds out into the garden. With seeds that tend to bridge, I typically put very few into a hopper and simply keep the packet with me, refilling often as I go down the row.
Alright, now that I've planted the parsnips in 2 locations, those are all done, I'm going to plant all the carrots. It's supposed to rain today. Right now, I don't see that happening. I hope it does because I'm planting all this stuff so I can get some free rainwater to water everything in. But if not, I'll just have to turn on the sprinklers because the carrots need a lot of heat and a lot of moisture to germinate. So this is another technique that I used from Elliot Coleman and what he's described in some of his books, or one of his books, I don't remember which one, is he plants carrots, waters them really heavily, and then covers that row with a strip of black plastic and then checks it every day to make, and once they've germinated, he takes the plastic off. So that protects the moisture and the heat, and carrot seedlings are very delicate when they first come up. If you've ever seen one, it's just really, really tiny. So you don't want to be watering really heavily. So that's why he waters everything when the seeds are just put in, and then protects that moisture by covering it with black plastic. That also attracts the heat to raise the temperature in the soil and get those carrots to germinate. So I'm hoping to plant all the carrots, get the rain to do it for me, and then tomorrow I can come out and cover everything with black plastic in those rows that are going to have carrots in them. But first I need to adjust the seeder. Out here late last night doing this in the dark. Turned out pretty well, but it's a good idea to check it again anyway. When you use a 6-row seeder, you need to make sure that the bed is completely level, and Ziggy was kind enough to walk in not just 1 but 2 rows that I had just finished, so there's big footprints. So anywhere where there's a hole like that, a seed's just going to drop on the soil and probably won't germinate. It needs to be at the right depth. So I'm just going to go through and level these that Ziggy walked on. It looks like a chicken got out and scratched over here, so now that I'm going to plant over here, I need to start electrifying the chicken fence so they don't get out. So I guess I'm just going to go through and recheck all the beds except the one with the parsnips. That one was okay. That one over there looks alright too. I'll probably leave that one alone, but these 3 need to be reworked so they're all level. One of the cool things about the 6-row seeder is it allows you to plant multiple varieties in the same row. It also, if you think long and hard about what you're going to do, it can help you plant multiple cultivars in the same row. So I have in the past planted lettuce, radishes, turnips, and carrots all in the same pass with a 6-row seeder. It doesn't come with the ability to do that because it would be really hard to get the seeds out without mixing them. But I've developed a cover system that I have designed specifically for this that allows me to cover all the hoppers except the one that I want to get out. So I can plant, theoretically, 6 different types of crops at once with this. I just cover 5 of the holes, empty one hopper, uncover another hole, empty that hopper, back into the seed packets. Hi, bud. What you doing? You gonna help me plant? Try not to walk in the garden again. I just got it done again. You dub. Ah! What did I just say? Get out of the garden. Good boy. In this case, I'm going to plant 2 varieties of carrots. One is orange and one is white. For my purposes, I've tried never to plant 2 varieties that are the same color, at least in terms of carrots, because it's really hard to tell them apart, at least for me, in most cases. So when I'm planting multiple varieties of carrots, I try to make sure there's an easy to determine distinction between the different varieties. So I'm going to plant St. Valerie, which is orange, and white satin. The only other trick is remembering which seed is in which hopper. If I'm only planting 2 different varieties, that's not such a big deal. It can be a problem if you're going to plant multiple varieties, 6, 5, even 4. And in that case, I'll actually make a list and write it down. Hopper 1, X, hopper 2, Y, etc. Well, I had a bunch of beans not come up, which is annoying. They were only a year old, the seeds, so I'm not sure what happened. All the other beans that I planted the same day are doing pretty well. My pole beans around the sunflowers are doing well. So I'm not sure what happened with these. And as I said, that's kind of irritating. But at the same time, it's kind of a blessing in disguise because I want to plant more carrots and I'm out of space where I had planned to plant carrots. So I'm going to put them here. I just need to re-prep this bed because I wasn't planning to use the 6-row seeder on this bed. It's not level enough and there's too many little rocks and the grass needs to come out. So I'm going to re-rake this up to where the first set of beans that I planted is about 1/3 of a row. Those came up. And the reality is I'm going to have plenty of beans. So it is a little frustrating to waste time and plant seeds and have them not come up. But at the same time, it gives me space to plant something else.